By 2050, global sea levels are expected to rise by 5 feet, and although this doesn't sound like a lot, it will spell the end of many years of untroubled living for a lot of people in low-lying areas. But why is this happening, and why didn't it occur millions of years ago? As you'll find out, sea level rise is taking place because we're experiencing the consequences of the enhanced greenhouse effect. The natural greenhouse effect has been happening for millions of years, and it means that Earth can keep a stable temperature that's able to support life. It's called the greenhouse effect because it essentially acts as a greenhouse, trapping the heat that the Earth absorbs from the sun and keeping it in our atmosphere. Watch the yellow dots to see how the greenhouse effect traps and releases heat from the sun, which keeps Earth at its stable temperature. The main greenhouse gases are carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, and water vapor. These 4 gases thicken a special part of the atmosphere that traps heat so we humans can thrive in a comfortable temperature of about 15 degrees Celsius. The enhanced greenhouse effect has been happening really since the Industrial Revolution, which in the grand scheme of things isn't that long ago. This is when people started using cars as a common method of transportation and producing things on a mass scale using factories. All of these things emit significant amounts of carbon, and since this is a greenhouse gas, that special part of the atmosphere started getting thicker, trapping more heat and creating climate change. The natural greenhouse effect became the enhanced greenhouse effect when people started emitting more carbon, and this means that less heat can escape from the atmosphere, creating a warmer climate. Having a warmer atmosphere is a problem. The polar ice caps are melting at a faster rate than ever before, and the ice that melts turns to water, and this goes into the sea and rises the sea levels. But this isn't the only factor contributing to the rise of sea level. Thermal expansion is making things worse. When there is even the tiniest rise in air temperature, this has a warming effect on the oceans, and when water gets warm, it tends to expand. We're only talking about a tiny increase in temperature, but when you apply this to all the ocean, there's a significant increase in sea level. Thermal expansion isn't adding more water to the ocean, but it's using what is there and making it take up a bit more space. So, the main 2 contributing factors to the rise of sea level due to the enhanced greenhouse effect are melting ice caps and thermal expansion. The impact that sea level rise is having on people is more severe than you may think. There are atolls in the Pacific whose highest point is only a few meters above sea level. People live here, and they live on the less elevated parts of the island. This means that when the sea levels rise even a few feet, it starts ruining the crops people grow and forces them to higher ground. At this rate, there will be thousands of refugees coming from these places who will need to be given somewhere to live. But rising sea levels are affecting us here in Auckland as well. The road along Mission Bay is becoming more and more swamped when the sea gets rough, and there is more and more erosion taking place at Waiheke Beach. A new rock wall is being built to combat this. But now you might be thinking that this sounds so terrible and that people need to change the way we do things to slow climate change. But you're also probably asking, what can you do to help? Well, try to refrain from unnecessarily using engines or power, because an engine and a power plant both create significant amounts of carbon. Change your light bulbs to LEDs and turn off lights when you're not using them. You can also ride a bike or walk to school instead of taking a bus or driving. If we all do something along these lines, we won't only save ourselves a little bit of money, but we'll also be saving the planet from sea level rise and the major problems that come with it.